Comrades. Okay, everybody.
Comrade, what's my task?
Wait, are we actually recording?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even know you fucking started. You were here depressed for so long, and you were like, my life is over, numbers.
I have to get my depression out of the way before every recording.
I literally did not know we were recording yet. Like, dead serious.
Yes, I recorded all of your retardation.
Yeah, I knew you recorded that. I didn't know we were gonna start yet. You didn't fucking say, okay, let's get ready to start. 3, 2, 1. Fucking what's my kill me? Fucking numbers are shit, Mason. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Let's do this. Cheer the fuck up! Oh, you're not gonna keep that one? Okay, fine. I'm gonna fix my suit.
Comrade, what's my task? What the fuck are you looking at me for?
I don't know. What is your task?
I don't know. What the fuck is my task? You're the one that dragged me up here.
Dude, we gotta talk.
What are we talking about?
Very serious stuff.
Can it wait? I'm playing a game. A game of life and death.
Anyways, comrades, we wanted to talk about something pretty important that's coming out soon.
And it's actually very important to both of us.
Trademark soon. Keyword there. So, we really wanted to talk about the new announcement, even though it's like a week late, because that's how we do things on this channel, guys. We're always a week to 2 weeks or never.
It makes it seem more authentic.
Exactly. So anyways, we wanted to talk about the new recent announcement of
Classic! Wow!
So he wanted to talk about World of Warcraft. Classic.
You face the classic! You face the
I was
classic!
gonna say, you can't-
Eridar, Lord of all that is classic!
You can't use the
Wind Fury! Wind Fury! You face the classic!
You can't use the Jiraxis theme.
I know, it didn't technically exist.
Yeah. Just like
Fuck it, we're making some loopholes in the paradox.
Alright, moving on. So, comrades, what we wanted to talk about was basically how fucking excited we are, and also what we're afraid of. So, first to start things off, to kind of give a little run through and run
probably
down.
give a little bit of backstory.
Yeah, because there people don't really know what. I mean, some do, most may not, or whatever. Why we give a crap about Classic, and also the differences between Classic and why the hell we care.
So, to give you guys a little bit of backstory too, let's go on ahead and let's start back at the beginning. So, the biggest thing is that let's actually go on ahead and focus on our experience with World of Warcraft. So, I'll go first since I'm more the noob in this situation.
So just to clarify real quick and interrupt you, the reason why I guess he wants to do that, and also to make clear differences between our experiences, I actually joined in almost day one, like 3 months in the game release back in 2004, like right before 2005 hit, like December or so. And
Yeah,
he started...
I didn't start till Lich King.
Yeah, he started in the
Like
middle of Lich
Lich
King,
King.
and then went back way later on and played Classic. So he experienced it significantly different time period, like multiple years later, like a decade and a half later. So anyways, now let's start. So we'll start with your experience first, and then we'll talk about, I guess, mine.
I loved it. Every fucking second of it. When I played Lich King, I fucking fell in love. Wow. True classic experience here.
Truly.
So, I fell in love with every single thing about Lich King as a whole. I never had any issues with the server. I never had any issues with the game. It was just the most unique experience ever. Because for me, I had just come off of RuneScape. And so, when you compare World of Warcraft to RuneScape, you're not even comparing the same fucking game. You're just not.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so when Alytics
Except for
first
those
showed...
graphics, man. Those graphics were intense.
Those graphics were pretty hot.
Yeah.
But no, so when Alytics actually showed me for the first time ever, he actually introduced me to very, like, subtle hints like a cunt. So he's just like, hey, Vladimir, why don't you try this game I got? You might really like it. And he hands me the battle chest of Warcraft 3. So little old unknown me ends up losing 2 years of my life to Warcraft 3. And then he's like, hey, you know what you would really like? You would really fucking like World of Warcraft. Why don't you just give it a try? The battle chest is only $20.
I mean, to be fair, Warcraft 3 was an amazing game, so you loved it.
It was fucking phenomenal. I loved every second of Warcraft.
So,
in fact, actually, I love Warcraft 3 so much, guys. Every computer I get, I always install Warcraft 3, and I always play through both the Reign of Chaos.
Bitch, we're getting
and
off
Frozen
topic.
Throne.
Who cares? I do the same thing. Point is, he loved the game because of fucking reasons and shit. I'm assuming, right?
It was it was just fucking phenomenal. It was something I'd never experienced before. It was a whole new gaming experience that I never even knew existed until I played. Fuck my wallet. I didn't fucking need it. Blizzard could have it.
Alright, so that was coming from Wrath of the Lich King. So what about when you went to Classic? How did you feel about that?
Well, that's not a fair jump.
Wait, real quick, so we can give a timeline here. So he went from Wrath of the Lich King to like straight up like normal up to Warlords of Draenor, and then he played the Nostalgia server, which was sometime like a year and a half ago. So we're talking like he literally played the vast majority of retail WoW before he ever touched Classic.
So I'll just go on ahead and say this. Fuck Cataclysm and fuck WoD. I literally hate both of them equally because to me they ruined the game that I fell in love with Lich King. And ever since that day, I have just been chasing that little bit of high that you get when you finally find something new and amazing, and I've never been able to get it. Because every single fucking time I try to log in onto retail, some expansions, it was kind of there. Like Mist of Pandaria, it was so close to being that new mystical world, and then it flopped. And then Legion was the one where I literally just went hard fucking core butt nerd. I ended up clocking in like 582 hours on a fucking Tauren that I made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a Tauren Death Knight that I made. I clocked in 582 hours from the time Legion came out till the time I quit, sometime in, what was it, like November or something? I forgot when I just looked at you one day with like bloodshot eyes. I was just like, I'm done. The game's boring.
It was before we graduated.
Yeah. So that was the problem, is that I had this huge thing where I was just trying to chase a feeling that I didn't think I would ever find again. And then lo and behold, here comes Nostralarius for free. And that was my first ever experience with Classic. I made a fucking gnome warlock because I didn't think I was going to like it. So I just kind of trolled it. But I fell in love with it. I immediately re-rolled after I hit like level 13 on the warlock. I immediately turned around and I re-rolled as a paladin human, and I couldn't get off the fucking game.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome. It was that sense of community, that sense of adventure, the fucking lack of quest finder, the fact that I had to read everything. Like when I would find a treasure chest that had a fucking gray shoulder pad in it, I got rock hard because that shit was hot. Like I was the fucking shit walking around in fucking shoulder pads at level 20. Fuck the rest of yous. And like it was cool. The fucking things were leather. I didn't give a shit. I equipped them immediately.
No, I agree. So I'm gonna jump in now because you're taking fucking long to talk like usual. So, anyways, I'm going to give you the real rundown of why Classic WoW is better than mostly retail. And keyword there mostly, because there are some features of retail that are good, but overall, as of recent, it's become too easy. And the biggest reason that a lot of people loved Classic WoW was it was like the precursor to Dark Souls, but like MMO edition. So, for instance, when you actually were out in the world, everything was very difficult, but it was like a struggle that you could achieve. So you would constantly die and learn. So you would actually have that sense of accomplishment when you actually did something. Unlike today where everything's just kind of a handout. So for instance, the most annoying thing I would say of retail at least is specifically Legion, which is like, remember how specifically you in Legion, because like you mentioned a minute ago, he had hardcore tried the hell out of that game.
I had to get that itch in. Yeah. I couldn't do it anymore.
So just so you guys know, that was his first, I guess, second-ish.
Second, because Lich King every single day.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about, like, real raiding experience.
Oh, okay.
He went hardcore and literally got on and raided every fucking day when he got a chance to do so. And the reason why I say the game was handing stuff out is because I played that game so incredibly casually. I got on for maybe 30 minutes a day, did only some general world quest that gave me loot or gear, whatever the hell I needed, and then got on once a week to kill the world boss to get whatever loot I needed. And at the entire time, even though he was raiding religiously, I was always right behind him by about 10 to 15 and maybe at the worst 20 item level points, which was embarrassing to him.
Yeah, that pissed me off to no end because I spent all this time grinding and trying my ass off, and here comesElytics, doesn't do anything, and the game just kept handing him shit. I did every single world quest every single day. I fucking did so many goddamn world quests. I was exalted with every faction so I could fly around the world in Legion. I did everything I could possibly do to be the very best that I could be. And here comes Elytics, just fucking strolling in. Literally does like 2 quests, walks away with some fucking epic shoulder pads, and here I am with fucking halfway done raid gear, and I can't even compete with him. It was pathetic.
Well, now, to be fair, when he says compete, like, he was definitely way further along. He could do more higher level raid tier stuff. The reason why we were complaining about it was just the fact that somebody who could get on once a day or maybe even a couple times a week could still marginally keep up with somebody who was on religiously and working their ass off for stuff. It's like all that hard work and merit kind of went out the window. Yeah, I know most people's arguments will be, well, yeah, but they didn't get as much of that bullshit powder, whatever the hell it was called, so they couldn't make their artifact weapon strong enough.
I don't. That we could do a whole episode.
Sure,
on
whatever.
weapon.
I guess that's one argument, but at the same time, it wasn't enough of an argument. DPS wise, I mean, really, it was spec related. So if you played a top tier spec at the patch of the time, because they patched every damn spec differently, you could still be heavily relevant with even lesser gear than somebody who was higher tiered and be a crap spec. But that's the point we were talking about, was just the fact that we could just have 2 completely different experiences, but still be relatively close nearby. And it was a letdown for both of us in just 2 different perspectives, because I didn't care to play the game at all. I didn't like Legion.
Dude,
I thought Legion was boring.
on MMO Champion every fucking day. I was looking at builds and strats for fucking Death Knight tanks, which were impossible to do certain raids, because if you spec your artifact weapon wrong, you'd only get 1/4 of it fucking back. I would literally pay fucking the actual money just to keep all the points to then work it. But that's the problem. It created a system where if you fucked up in the beginning, you can't undo it.
Yeah. And then the other thing, too, that really just killed my interest in the game is, one, it's a very heavy PvE game, and I was only PvE really early on in my World of Warcraft career. I went heavily PvP in Wrath of the Lich King and on. But specifically, this game was very PvE, but the thing that got me, though, was that even as it being very PvE, with all the new features they kept coming out with what is that thing called? Looking for raid, LFR?
LFR.
Where they'd gimp the raid and give you, wings, and even then the raid fights weren't even the complete raid fight, but they were just like enough to matter because they still give you gear to a degree.
I think what Elix is trying to get to, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds to me like your biggest problem with Legion, and actually most of World of Warcraft and retail experience now, is that everyone wins.
Yes.
Everyone's special.
Yes.
Everyone gets to do the content.
Yeah,
everyone
special
gets
snowflake syndrome was very strong.
So that's your problem.
That's the other thing, too. I forgot even to mention that, was artifacts were the worst invention ever to come out in World of Warcraft in history. That was truly the worst thing, because then that took away all achievement to gain that one thing you want. Yeah, I get it. People get butthurt whenever it comes to the idea that something would drop, you had to fight over, you gotta deal with ninja looters, or some jackass would take it out of the group, or whatever. Who cares? That's life. Exactly.
Like, literally, I got promoted at my job not because everyone gets a fucking promotion, everyone gets to be the manager. I worked my ass off for it, and I achieved the merits for it. That's exactly how World of Warcraft used to be.
Keyword there, because now it's participation trophies, where everybody is getting the same amount of credit. And that's the other thing, too, is that when everybody gives the same amount of or gets the same amount of credit, it's like there's no credit relevant anymore.
It devalues it completely.
Because if everybody's the lieutenant, and everybody's the special snowflake, and everybody's like the army general and whatnot, then what the hell does it make you have any incentive to keep playing? No, I don't want to play a damn single-player storyline. I'm not playing Mass Effect in my World of Warcraft. I'm playing World of Warcraft. If anything, the game should be more like Battlefront, where you're just a lonely soldier who gets recognition because you do well in the battlefield. I'm not saying you should unlock a Jedi and suddenly become a captain. I'm just saying, like, in classic WoW, when that one dude walked by in High Warlord, or whatever it was called, or High Marshal,
Grand Marshal.
Grand Marshal and High Warlord. When they came with rank 14, that's all I know it's called. When they came with rank 14 nearby, you knew, one, that those guys literally had no life, and you knew, two, that they also tried their fucking ass off, and it was worth it.
When I played Nostralarius, and I saw for the first time in my life a fucking, and this is the crazy thing too. I don't know what it was, but I still remember I actually saw somebody in Grand Marshal gear. And they were fucking walking past me and everything else like that in World of Warcraft on their mounts. And, like, I just looked at him and I was like, wow, I want to be that guy.
Yeah,
How
you
do
have like
I
a
get
sense
that?
of awe and respect. And actually, talking about that, so the respect factor. So that's actually one thing that's, like, completely gone out of the game now. Sure, I guess you could respect the guy that has the ungodly achievement score or the 5 million mounts in his bags. Sure, I guess that's cool.
Yeah, but who the fuck sees that?
Yeah, very true. Nobody sees that unless you keep switching all 500 mounts. By that point, they get bored after the 5th one. But the thing that gets me is that it was a status symbol, literally and figuratively, when you had both the title that told you your status and the armor set that proved your status. Like, you were forged in battle kind of thing. But the respect of it, not so much as just like what they see on you, but also you would get respect from individuals when you're playing the game. So, prime example, Vladimir mentioned earlier about the thing that he misses out of the game is a community. And that's truly something that's gone out of the game. There is no community really anymore in World of Warcraft. With classic WoW,
quests so this is something I have more experience in than analytics. I did more world quests than I fucking care to even admit. And the thing is that literally I remember everyone was just fucking free-for-alling. Like, it was just attack it, fucking run. Like, and the game made it easy to where you didn't have to party up. You didn't have to find other people to do something unless it was a specific world quest that required a party up system. And that's what kind of depressed me about it, was that, like, every time if I was just in the area, like, look at all the people around me right now. If there was an event going on, literally all that will fucking happen, we just automatically be in a group and us attacking the same thing. Even if I come in and I attack him one time, I get the same amount of credit as the people that have been there for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, that got on my nerves, because you just had to give a certain amount of damage, or at least at the right time, and you got credit for it.
And so that's the problem, is that there's no reason to sit there and seek out help, because why would you?
Yeah.
Who do you need help from? You are the hero. You're the one with the fucking legendary weapon. You're the one with all this artifact power. You're the one that the story's revolving around. Who the fuck do you need help from?
But kind of getting back to the community aspect of it, the thing that I absolutely miss, going back to like the status and title and armor and things, was I distinctly...
Level 17 elite ogres?
Well, no,
ogres
that,
everywhere.
No,
just fucking ogres.
That was more
ogres than we can count.
That was more the difficulty of the game. I'm talking about the respect level in that when you would go and play in PvP mostly, you would literally fight only the same amount of people, because there wasn't the battle groups then, so they didn't have merged servers. So you actually had the same amount of people on every server every single day. So yeah, you couldn't talk to them, but you could literally interact with them still. You would meet people and get to know them very well. My favorite is this orc warrior that I distinctly remember, and Vlad has a similar story with an undead rogue, but there was an orc warrior that I distinctly remember fighting against by the way, I played human paladin when I played classic WoW, so there was an orc warrior every single time I played PvP, in my like 2-day long Alterac Valleys and all my other PvP ganking sessions and all my Tar and Mill and South Shore fights, that I would fight this fucking orc warrior named Excelsior or Excalibur or something, can't remember exactly. But I remember this dude and me always freaking fought, all the time. I mean, every single time we fought each other, every time we've seen each other, we'd immediately do a slash bow, and then we'd have basically a one-on-one straight-up fight, regardless of where we're at. We'd be in Warsun Gulch, we'd go off to the corner and fight the hell out of each other. 9 times out of 10, I usually lost because he was just better than me, I'll be honest. But I loved fighting the hell out of that guy.
Yeah, because every single day you had something to look forward to, and if you ever met him, it was that sense of respect. Like, I still remember, like...
Wait, one more thing real quick to interrupt you. One last thing on top of that was I distinctly also remember going back to the whole respect and community and stuff. Speaking of that, I would oftentimes go over to Orgrimmar, and literally, they wouldn't, like, kill me outside just because they knew who I was and I constantly played the game. So they would literally just duel me outside of Orgrimmar all the time. We had constant dueling fights. Now, of course, we also had our raids on the cities, which they knew the difference between me being there and dueling and me there to raid their cities. Because if you go to Orgrimmar, you never raid from the front. That's dumb as hell. You raid from the side. So if they ever saw me on the side, they knew I was coming to attack Thrall. But if they saw me in the front, they knew I was there to raid. I mean, like, just duel them and stuff. And it was fun as shit because, literally, like I said, there was, like, the constant community, rivalry, like... It was just really unique.
Dude, we're
experience.
getting fucking giddy just talking about it, for fuck's sake.
It was just a unique experience you literally can never get again. Like now, as a current WoW. So anyways, now continue with what you were going to say.
So the thing I was going to say is that I actually still remember in Lich King, there were so many times that I would meet another fellow paladin who was playing on the Alliance, and I would sit there and I would immediately fucking attack his ass and gank him and things like that. And this fight just dragged on for 30 fucking minutes.
Yep.
And at some point, I remember me and him just looking at each other. I just lowered my weapon. He lowered his. We backed away, and we actually just both, like, bowed to each other, and then left each other the fuck alone for the rest of the zone. Like, that's all we did. And that, to me, that's that community piece. That's what makes a fucking MMO an MMO. You have a fucking community of, like, people who actually, like, get it, and they're like, okay, like, we can work this out. Like, we don't have to fight it out and waste our time. Or just, like, actually, my favorite story, I'll admit this was going to take a little bit, but it's well worth it. So, this actually comes from Nostralaris. This was the moment I realized I loved Classic, and it wasn't going to waver. I did not care what Blizzard said. I did not give a fuck what anyone told me. I didn't care how many people wanted to say that it wasn't going to happen. I was for it, and I was going to make my voice heard every chance I could about it. I got a quest at level 20 from a blacksmith in Ironforge. I was playing a human paladin at the time, and this quest sends you all over the fucking world.
Oh yeah, because Classic WoW, in case you guys didn't play, Classic and Burning Crusade had forced exploration where you take a quest on one continent and had to travel to the other ones back and forth constantly.
Yeah, so the quest required me to go to, like, Wailing Caverns, whatever the place is in Ashran, the dungeon there with the Naga. It required me to go there. It required me to go to Shadowfang Keep, and then it also required me to go to, I think this one was really weird, if I'm not mistaken, for where?
Ashran? That's a...
No, it required me to go to Ashran.
That's a Rules of Draenor, dude.
No, I'm sorry, Ashenvale.
Ashenvale.
The place with the Naga dungeon.
Yeah.
And then it required me to go one other dungeon.
Black
I never
Fathom
figured
Deeps?
it out. Yes, Black Fathom Deeps.
Yeah.
So, me being in Ironforge and me looking at my levels, like, okay, this clearly must be a really good weapon if it's requiring me to do all this shit. And I was like, more than likely it's going to carry me for a while. Because that's the other thing, too. When you do a quest like that in Classic, it carries. If you spent the time and effort and invested all this time to do this one quest, you will get a reward well worth its weight in gold for your time. And that's what I had noticed, and I already learned real quick immediately. So, I'm like, well, I'm in Ironforge. Let's go to Shadowfang Keep. It's not that far. It's only knee deep in fucking Horde territory.
Yeah.
So, I started passing by it, and I started making my trip there. And I remember every single zone I was saying looking for group for Shadowfang Keep. And every single time I couldn't find anybody. Until I arrived in, like, the marshlands or something like that. It's where there's an Alliance port there. And there was this dwarf priest who was like, oh, hey, I need to go to Shadowfang. I was like, oh, what are you doing there? And he apparently has a fucking class quest to go to Shadowfang Keep to collect, like, some fucking orb and, like, some robes. And I'm like, oh, okay, so me and him start going together. It was the best goddamn trip of my life I've ever had in fucking World of Warcraft. There's a place there in World of Warcraft, and I'm pretty sure you remember. I was never around for it. It's called South Shore versus Tarn.
Oh, yeah.
So,
oh, yeah, I was very, very heavily a part of that.
Obviously, to get to Shadowfang Keep, have to cross right between South Shore versus Tarn Mill. And I have no clue how the fuck we got so lucky.
And real quick, just to let you guys know what South Shore and Tarn Mill was. So there was Battlegrounds, but before Battlegrounds were a thing, because they were patched in later on as the game was getting, as it was already released. It wasn't with the game when it came out. There was World PvP, and there was like 3 specific places.
Imagine D-Day, but the soldiers keep respawning.
And there was like 3 specific places that shit happened, and it was always South Shore and Tarn Mill was number 1. Right behind it was like Tenaris, like whatever that place, Gadgetzan, and then I forgot what the third one was. But literally, South Shore and Tarn Mill was the place to be at all times to fight. And if you went there, it was just bodies and bodies of dead people.
It's funny he mentions that, because me and this dwarf must have just literally missed the war. Because we start walking in, couple of dead bodies. Okay, we get deeper in. A lot of dead bodies. Okay, we get right at the fucking crossroad where South Shore's like to the fucking west, and Tarn Mill is to the east, and I'm just like, there's a lot of fucking dead bodies. And I just like typed to him like, we gotta go now. So we make it there, and this is the respect thing Derek was talking about earlier. So we get to Shadowfang Keep. There's a full party of Horde standing there at the fucking gate. And I'm just like, oh, fuck, here comes my butthole raping. The Tauren literally turns around.
Real quick, I want to interrupt you for one thing. This is also a major fact, too, that doesn't happen in the game, was that you had to actually go explore your dungeons. You didn't just magically teleport into them.
Yeah, there's no teleportation.
You literally had to find where the dungeons were and run your fat ass over there. Whether it was in your territory or your opposing faction's territory. So, like, he's saying he was an alliance and he had to run into Horde territory to get his quest getting done.
Yeah, like, hardcore, dude. Like, literally, it was filled with people fucking questing and trying to get their shit together. But anyway, so we get there, and there's this Tauren warrior, like some fucking undeads, and I think like an orc there. The Tauren warrior literally just turns around to us. All he does is wave, and then he stepped out of the way to let us into Shadowfang Keep, because you saw there was just 2 of us. And I was like, that was very nice. I would have killed him. Because I'm a dick. But anyway, so we get into Shadowfang Keep, and this is where just shit hits the fan. So, this is a beginner's dungeon for the Horde, if you don't know.
And also, to interrupt one more time, the dungeons in World of Warcraft Classic were really, really whack, as in they weren't, like, very streamlined. So, the biggest thing he figured out was specifically Shadowfang Keep.
Real fucking quick.
Was that it starts off at, like, level 15?
14. It starts off at 14. Yeah. And I was like, oh, we got this. We're both, like, level 23, like, fucking 22.
It starts at, like, level 14, but it ends at, like, level 28.
We leveled twice in there because it was just me and him, because I was thinking to myself, alright, I understand it's classic, but the thing is, I'm a paladin tank, and he is a fucking priest healer. So we have heals, like fucking spams, and more spams. So we're like, we got this.
It was out-heal the
no,
enemy.
the fuck we didn't. No, the fuck we did not.
Because everything was
we didn't have anything of it.
There was no damage, no man. You was too mana dependent. Like, there was just nothing you guys could do after a certain point.
No, so the best part about it was that we sat there and we literally got to the second to last boss in Shadowfang Keep, and we had grinded. We had to have died no less than 76 times. I'm not even kidding. It must have been about 76 times that we had died in Shadowfang fucking Keep, but we loved it. Every fucking death, we're like, all right, here's the new strat, and just run into it. You got that
extra little bit of progression that was just like, we're making progress. This is getting better.
I remember for like 30 minutes, we were only able to kill one fucking mob. That's it, just one. And we were so excited that we killed that one. Because, like, yes, we got the fucking wolf. We can now kill the guy.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was awesome.
By the way, your armor is getting absolutely destroyed.
Oh, yeah.
Because durability mattered back then. It was very expensive because you were poor as crap at all times. The gold inflation wasn't as ridiculous as it is today. So literally, he's running around butt naked in this thing, picking up random grays and greens to put on himself because it was still better than broken.
Yeah, that is true. And like, it was awesome because me and him were splitting all the loot together. Like, we were doing it was a true teamwork effort. No question about it. And then the best part was, and the most depressing part about that fucking dungeon experience, I didn't finish getting all the quest items I needed. He did. And literally, we spent too long in the dungeon. So apparently Classic had a limit on how long you could be in a dungeon. We must have been in there for 3 or 4 hours. I sincerely don't remember because my eyes were bloodshot. And like, what I thought was only going to take 2 hours ended up fucking taking me 6. And I was into like 4 o'clock in the morning. But I was determined not to fucking give up. And so was he. And like, then the fucking dungeon reset on us, and we got fucking thrown out, and when we came back in, the dungeon was completely reset, and we were fucking fucked. But the thing was, I wasn't even mad.
Yeah.
Like, I friended him. Me and him laughed about it. It was fucking awesome. And that's where I personally feel that the current retail experience does not compare to what Classic offered. Because if that would have happened to me in Wrath of the Lich King, if that would have happened to me in Legion, I would have given up fucking hours ago. But then again, this is the same player who played Legion hardcore, who when he tried Nostralarius for the first fucking time, and he sat there, and he was okay with it. There's a different feeling. There's a different environment with it. And that was the moment I realized Classic WoW was something I had to have, because it was wonderful. And what depressed me even fucking more, not even a week after that experience, Blizzard fucking shut down the server.
Yeah.
Analytics can tell you how that fucking went.
Yeah, because that was a very heartbreaking moment for him. So wasn't really playing it much because I've already played a shitload of Classic WoW, and the reason why I don't play too many private servers is because I know they get shut down a lot. So I wasn't too hell-bent on playing the game. I was just waiting till eventually either World of Warcraft died and they came out with legacy servers later on, or they did like they do now, where they got so much giant freaking upheaval about it that they eventually released it. So basically what happened was I got a giant message alert because I'm on Reddit a lot, and I got a giant message alert like of thousands of people just flipping out, and I was getting all these notifications and stuff from a post I had put up about something, and find out that apparently World of Warcraft, not World of Warcraft, Nostalrius was getting hit by a cease and desist. And literally that was at like 5 in the morning. And I'm like, waking up, getting ready for college, some classes I have, and I'm like, oh shit, this is a big deal. I was like, well, I'll tell Vladimir, and I was like, well,
because he knows I never pay attention to the news.
But I was like, you know what, Vladimir's gonna, he's not gonna get up and play right away because he said something about he was gonna take a break for a little bit. And so he had some stuff to take care of or something. So I texted him later on at like 1 o'clock in the day.
I was at work.
Yeah.
I literally had to wake up. I had to wake up at like 8:30 and go straight to work. So I didn't have time
So
to
I
play.
texted him at like 1:30 and I was like, hey, when you get home, we got to talk. You're going to be very depressed. This is a dramatic thing. And he thought immediately that, because he had 2 cats in the house, he thought one of his cats died. And so he walks in, he sees both cats running at him, he's like, what the fuck is wrong?
Yeah, no, so that was like process of elimination for me. I'm like, okay, Kitty's alive.
Yeah, so then, remember, he'd only been playing this game for all of like 2 weeks. 3 weeks.
No,
you were 22 in that one.
Months.
Yeah, you were months in that one.
Dude.
I'm thinking the other one.
I had played for about 2 months.
You were 2 months into this one. So anyways, he only played the game for 2 months. He comes in, and I'm like, he's like, dude.
He literally tells me, sit down.
Yeah, so he's like, all right, what's wrong? What's happening? I'm like, all right, dude, I need you to breathe. I'm like, you're going to be very, very heartbroken when I tell you. He's like, all right, just get it out. I'm like, Blizzard put out a cease and desist for Nostalrius and the server's shutting down today or tomorrow. And he was like, what? So he immediately grabs his laptop, whips it out, logs in. Everybody's like crying and wailing and freaking out. There's giant massive parties of people.
Those pictures you guys saw of all of those like parties and all those people like getting together and like the Horde and Alliance even having a cease and desist, I was a part of that.
Yeah.
I was literally in the middle of that, and I just couldn't believe it.
And so Vlad was mourning with everybody else. But anyway, so to get kind of back on topic,
I killed myself off the top of a cliff.
Yeah, he really did. He literally jumped off.
That's just literally how I was like, well, this is how it ends.
Yeah, he's like, this character will die with this server, and he jumped
I was like, he'll die with honor.
So, even though that's like the most dishonorable thing you can do. But anyways, so we're kind of getting a little off topic. We got a little bit of story time because we were just reminiscing about the game.
It's important because this is what makes the game the fucking game. When you find that good game, you have stories to share about it.
And that's the thing, is that, I mean, sure, there's probably people that have stories of Legion, but the thing that gets me is that people have more stories of Classic. And that's not because it's older per se, it's just because it was a different experience and you could share more stories then. I mean, people may also have a lot of stories of Wrath of the Lich King because it was also the peak and there was the most amount of people playing it. It was a good expansion, but it still was kind of the start of the downfall. And kind of on the topic of that, I actually wanted to ask you, since you basically played Wrath of the Lich King when you started, and then played through pretty much the vast majority of retail, and then finally basically topped it all off.
Well, me and you haven't missed a single fucking retail expansion.
Yeah. I mean, I played every single one.
It's honestly a fucking it's a cocaine addiction. I'll just flat out admit it. If you Comrades, if you try WoW once, you will never fucking get off. Like, I'm dead serious. If you make it to max level one time, that's all it takes. One time, you're done.
Well, actually, I like to rephrase it. I don't know if they'll be addicted to today's standards. I think they may be addicted to maybe a previous iteration.
Oh, yeah.
Today is just too convenient to level. You level so quickly, it's ridiculous. Especially if you get a friend bonus, you level in like 5 days.
Well, that's what fucks it up.
Yeah.
But anyways, what were you going to ask me?
So I was going to ask you, if you were, what would you rank all of the World of Warcraft games, including like expansions and including vanilla, from worst to best?
So this is gonna be a little weird for me just because I have a very skewed opinion on it. So if we're talking literally from worst, that's the guy I've been looking for the whole time. By the way, yeah, this is what I hear, Comrades. This is classic, where I've literally spent the last fucking 20 minutes in a fucking cave trying to find one fucking dude. Oh, I didn't get credit, did I?
No, you didn't. Yeah, as long as you get
Community!
Yeah.
They invited me right on time!
Yeah, as long as you get thrown into a group just in time before he dies, you'll get credit for it. You won't get you won't get the experience, but you get credit for the loot.
But anyway, okay, so that's a little bit of a loaded question for me, and the reason it is because it's a hard one for me to answer, but I can definitely easily start off with my worst. So, my absolute worst fucking hated expansion in the fucking game is Cataclysm. Because for me, Cataclysm is the thing that literally took everything that I loved about the game and ripped it all away. They ripped away the classic world environment. They ripped away the classic quest. They fucking ripped away my paladin and like how I fucking learned to play it.
Assuming people haven't played pre-Cata, Cata literally got rid of all of the original.
They ripped away my talent trees. They made my fucking gear useless, which that one I guess I can't complain as much because they do it every fucking expansion. But like it to me, that was a heartbreaking, like, they just fucking stole everything that I loved. And so Cataclysm will forever be my most hated because of that one reason alone. But my second most hated, not even fucking competition, is Warlords of Draenor. Warlords of Draenor fucked it for me because I thought it was the revitalization of the Horde and the Alliance, like, fighting. I thought it was going to be the revitalization of, like, actually incorporating that community and that sense of feeling again with your town halls and your fucking war garrisons. And I literally was getting excited. I was like, oh, fuck, I got to work on my war garrison so I can get to my raids, so I can fucking play with more people, and then I can invite my friends, and we can do shit together in it, and, like, I can help them, and they can help me. No, it turned into a fucking microtransaction, like SimCity build it from the fucking iOS or Android iStore, like fucking Clash of Clans.
Yeah.
That was like fucking worthless because at least in Clash of Clans, I build my army, I control my army, I put my army in the positions I fucking want. With this one, I just click fucking buttons and that's it.
It was literally like they implemented a mobile game into World of Warcraft.
It was terrible.
It was really bad.
Fucking awful. Why the fuck do I have to wait 24 hours for one dude to come back and whether succeed or fail? Why the fuck was it there was someone that had a 100% success rate, they come back failing?
Failed. Oh, that drove me
How does that fucking happen?
Yeah, that drove me absolutely
I picked the 100% success rate and ignored the other missions just for that one mission because I needed that one fucking item and they fucking failed it. How do you fuck it up?
Yeah, I know. So anyways, moving on. So that's 2.
That's 2. 3 is gonna be a hard one, but if I had to place a third one, I would probably put Mist of Pandaria very easily as a third because I don't hate Mist of Pandaria. For me, Mist of Pandaria was just enough to get me back into the game and actually kind of fall in love with it again. And the world was just beautiful. I don't care what anyone says. I thought Pandaria was the most interesting, unique fucking place they've ever taken us from everything else that they fucking had. It was fantastic. It was beautiful as a whole. But then we had so after Pandaria, if I had to pick my next one that really, really sat there and kind of drove me and made me, like, really, really excited about it, it would actually probably be Legion. I know this one's going to be controversial with you, but the thing was that I really did give it my all in Legion because I wanted to feel that feeling of World of Warcraft again. They had just killed fucking Nostalarius for me. They had just sat there and completely fucked everything up, and then they turned around and they started making it seem like they were going to make steps towards Classic, and then they just didn't do anything. And so I was kind of blindsided and like falsely into it and everything else like that. So, but the thing was is that I had fun in Legion. I really did. I made it fun for myself. I was a raid leader. It was awesome. Like getting to lead raids, even though I really shouldn't have been. But being able to lead raids. No, you know what I'm talking about, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't have a fucking guild. I pucked my shit. I forced everyone in the Discord. I told everybody what to do. But that's how I did it, and it worked. I made it work. But like, it was fun to me in the end until that final day where I just got so fed up of seeing like some of my closer friends who were still playing the game, not you obviously, but seeing some of my closer friends who were still playing the game.
Yeah, I quit like exactly on the dot 3 weeks in.
Yeah. just sitting there and having higher item levels than me, even though I did all this work and I did all this fucking time and invested.
Yeah, because they would get lucky, get a random legendary, and just shoot through item level.
No, seriously, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
like,
I
still
that.
remember, and I'm not gonna name who it was, but I still remember the day one of my friends got a fucking legendary, and he had not invested anywhere near as much time as
he was
me.
basically about a little bit more, but about as casual as I was.
He became more hardcore
That's
after
what
I got on his ass.
Yeah, after, but he was at first roughly like twice, like, more active than me. So not very active, but pretty unactive or inactive. And then he started picking it up towards a little later on as he got into the game because he was so hardcoring and they gotta force him into it. But either way, he was nowhere near putting in as much effort as Vlad. And then he got, sure enough, lucky drop, got a legendary, shot his item level up, and nobody.
I
could
couldn't
keep up with
believe his fucking legendary pissed me off. But regardless, again, I'm picking too much at Legion because the thing is, comrades, and me and Alytics might have completely different stances on this. We always have. Me and him argue about World of Warcraft on a daily basis. But the thing is that for me, Legion was fun enough. And that's exactly what I'm going to leave it as. Then, my next level of my second to, best is actually, I'm going to put Classic. And the reason is because I didn't get to finish it. I've still never finished it, so I can't properly rate it. The time I've spent with it and the time that I've gotten with it has honestly been a blessing. It's like that fleeting love thing where you meet the love of your life, but you only get to spend 2 months with her, and then she disappears and you can never ever have her again. You're not going to rate that your best relationship of your life, but you will always cherish that time. And that's what matters more than anything else, is that the time I've gotten out of Classic has just... It's enthralled me to the point and lured me into where I know I can't turn back. So that's why I'm going to put Classic at a second.
You
but
actually
still,
missed one whole section, but keep going.
But still, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to say that Lich King's going to be my number one top. And if you're talking about Burning Crusade,
yeah, that's what I
didn't play it.
That's true.
I never played Burning Crusade.
That's true. I forgot about that.
I literally started in Lich King. I don't consider running through the fucking leveling zone as experiencing Outlands. That's not fair.
Yeah.
So I can't do Burning Crusade.
No, that's a fair argument. I didn't think about that.
So that's my list. So just a refresher. Cataclysm's the worst. After that is Warlords of Draenor. After that is Mist of Pandaria. After that is Legion. After that is Classic. And then after that is Wrath of the Lich King. So that's literally my tier list, and I'll put it up in the video as well for you guys to see as a true breakdown and go from there. But since I got to do mine, yours is probably going to be a lot shorter and your points are going to be more pretty much well thought out than mine are. What's your list?
So mine is actually really simple. Mine's almost in the exact reverse order of expansion releases. Literally just flip 2 around. So
what's your worst?
My most hated is actually Cataclysm. That's that, and another one is basically.
Oh wow, I didn't think we had that in common.
No, Cataclysm really. You know what? It's really hard. This is why I struggle so hard. Cataclysm and Warlords of Draenor really are basically number 1 and 2 of the worst games I've ever fucking played in my life. Reason I say
the
that...
The worst games?
Yes. Worst games. Keyword there. Not just worst expansions, but some of the worst games I played. Only because it literally took the essence of a game and ruined it. Because I didn't like Cataclysm in the fact that it literally butchered half the classes in the game that I love to play.
God damn this.
And I really didn't like the fact that it ripped out the whole essence of the game that I loved, being classic WoW. Yeah, sure, Burning Crusade had pretty similar elements, and Wrath of the Lich King was still there, but they deleted basically classic WoW and anything that was relevant to it.
Now, to be fair, in Derek's point, the reason I think it worked so badly for me, I still, to this fucking day, have to remind myself that Western and Eastern Plaguelands is not the level 50 through 60 zone.
Yeah.
It still fucks me up.
Yeah. So Cataclysm fucked me up real bad. I really didn't like Cataclysm. Even though, as weird as it sounds, Cataclysm of the last 4 expansions, I played probably 6 times as much Cataclysm than I did anything else. Mostly because I played the PvP in it.
Yeah.
Because
you got really. Actually, that was like your attempt at hardcoring.
Because I was so into it in Wrath of the Lich King, because I finally had made the switch to PvP, and I was getting really, really good at it, and I started doing arena matches and everything. So Cataclysm came out, and I was already still kind of used to it. They changed the fuck out of the Ret Paladin at the time, and I hated the crap out of it because it was so randomized. But anyways, different story, didn't care. Point is, Cataclysm is number one as the worst, just barely. Wolves of Draenor was right behind it because the rest of what made Classic WoW and World of Warcraft as a game, as an experience, was gutted, and that was the social, like being a social platform. Because the point of an MMO is to play with people. You're not playing a single-player game with multiplayer elements.
I know exactly where you're about to go with
because this. I can't stand the fact that literally the game was starting to become a single-player, almost like Guild Wars-esque style game, where you had your single-player storyline, but you had like multiplayer where every once in a while you could interact by pressing a button, and that button would be like looking for a group or partying up to do a random quest, and that was literally your entire interaction. Outside of that, you had a little bit of raids and dungeons, but that was it. You never ever interacted with anybody else ever again, like ever, really. You were so heavily focused on grinding, farming, and literally just dealing with your shitty garrison, and that was it. That was literally the game. It was terrible. It was a horrible experience. Because it literally wasn't World of Warcraft. It was just Warcraft. Like, there was no world. There was nothing there to explore. There was nothing to do. Everything was streamlined. You had to do everything in step-by-step order. You couldn't go off on your own. It was awful. Truly terrible game. Then, right next to it...
the other thing, this is what I thought you were going with, but I'm surprised you missed it, and I guess maybe you've changed your opinion. I remember your biggest thing that you were complaining about, and I completely agreed with you, is that literally that's also where they finally released out LFR, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, well, yeah, LFR.
No, because remember, you literally were like, what the fuck do you leave your garrison for? You literally look for dungeons in your garrison. You literally look for fucking raids in your garrison.
This is why I didn't mention it yet, because it's coming in Wrath of the Lich King argument. So, let me continue on. So, my next one right behind it is Legion. I fucking hated Legion. I know I'm gonna get a shitload of flack for it, but I despised Legion.
I love how Linux's bottom list is just like, I fucking hate it, I hate it, there's no good points.
There's literally just a shitload of hate. There's a shit list, and then it gets, like, reasonable. Like, literally, I fucking hated Legion. I fucking hated that game. Like, to be honest with you, I actually think now that I'm talking about it, I might rearrange it and put Legion below Wolves of Draenor. Like, I really did not like Legion. For the sole fact of the special snowflake syndrome. I fucking hated that. Because I loved what I experienced in Classic, as I mentioned earlier in this video, about the whole enjoying the world, enjoying the community, and literally getting recognized as somebody who was just like everybody else, but proved myself. Not being a fucking regular person who got proven for themselves because they were forced into it because of special snowflake syndrome. Oh, you're the lieutenant of this giant army. Oh, you're the important hero to stop this fucking invasion. Oh, here's your magic super weapon that literally is impossible to find in the world, but now that Legion came out, suddenly everybody fucking has it, and 30 variations of it. Who the fuck cares? You're a special snowflake. Fuck yeah, let's go you, that's awesome. You even get to man your little garrisons again, but like in group format, where instead of you being alone in your garrison, you have 30 other people in your garrison that don't interact with you. Because they're just running into the damn garrison, sending their jackasses on their missions again, and getting the fuck out.
Yeah.
Nobody talks to you in the damn guild halls. The only time I talk to you is to be like, oh dude, you guys excited for the next patch? No, I'm not. Like at all. Like that's literally it. Or they would sit there and bitch about their classes because they literally kept fucking with the classes again. And they kept ruining them, like over and over and over again. They kept fucking butchering classes.
Yeah, because the thing is that how are you gonna look for group in your fucking raid hall?
Well, the thing that killed me about the classes was because they were so hell-bently dependent on their fucking super weapons that they were irrelevant outside of their fucking weapons. So even if you wanted to go do something else, you physically couldn't. So you physically, forcefully had to farm for this bullshit weapon powder to make yourself a fucking special jizz juice to make your damn weapon relevant. Because if you didn't have a relevant weapon, you were irrelevant. It was just dumb. Absolutely terrible design. It made every single player into a Chinese gold farmer. terrible experience. And if you fucking argue with me all you want, you're a dumbass. I don't care what you say. I'm sorry, Legion was a terrible game. Moving on. Next game.
Let me rearrange my order in the middle of my fucking order. Like,
Because
you have
I
less
fucking-
to say about the other two than that one
I
combined.
fucking hated Legion. Dude, I played Legion for all of exactly, realistically, 2 weeks. That third week I got on once in a while
Yeah,
just because he kept
I was
forcing
trying to
me.
get him to raid with me, and Linux just refused to fucking
I couldn't
raid
play
with
it.
me.
I couldn't play the PvP. It was boring. Couldn't play, that's the other thing too. The last 2 expansions with Legion and World of Draenor did not come out with a fucking PvP arena or anything. They didn't come out or they came out with an arena, but they didn't come out with a fucking battleground. They came out with a temporary brawl, which was a reminiscent play of Tarn Mill versus South Shore, which all it did was just piss me off. Because then it wasn't saying like, oh, you can actually have this. It was on rotation with a bunch of other bullshit. But at the same time, you don't get Classic WoW. You get to experience what Classic WoW could have been, but you actually get to play it in
Like,
today's current shitty version.
Under Legion's fucking reign.
Oh, and it was right around the same
insane.
time as Nostalrius being out and getting like shut down. I was like, oh, fuck you, Blizzard. That's like the biggest dick slap in the face. I was mad as shit. Fuck Legion. So anyways, not to mention Gul'dan was still alive and the storyline was fucking shit. Legion was ass.
I think you've spent enough time on Legion.
Legion sucked. Moving on. Mr. Pandaria. Mr. Pandaria.
So how far away is Mr. Pandaria from Legion? Like, if you had to give it like a ruler.
So if we're talking like a full 12-inch ruler is the scale of all the games, I would say like at the 0-inch and like quarter-inch, half-inch, and 1-inch are the last 3 games I just mentioned. They were so shitty, I put them all 1 inch and under. I would cram them in the fucking shit pile and just like stuff them in there and like put it in the treasure chest and just throw it out in the sea because they didn't exist to me. So then moving up to like 6 inches, so like dead middle of the ruler is Mr. Pandaria. So we're talking like a whole 5 inches separation. Okay, there's a massive difference between Cataclysm, Worlds of Draenor, and Legion, and Mr. Pandaria. Shitload of difference. Now, did not really like Mr. Pandaria that much either, but I didn't hate it either. It was dead ass middle. Like it was so general, it was just fine.
To be fair, me and Analytics just came off of the worst Wrath of the Lich King private server
yeah.
I could have ever imagined. The fact that we even got to level 17 was a fucking bloody
Mr.
miracle.
Pandaria was the only expansion I didn't buy day one. We bought it like a week later. We rage bought it because we were playing in, ironically enough,
Actually, it was Shadowfang Keep again.
We were in Shadowfang Keep on this private server, glitching underneath the map and
You
pulling
remember
the
our
entire fucking dungeon.
Yeah, I was gonna say, our tank went forward to the gate just to sit there and talk to the NPC, and he pulled
the whole dungeon. We're talking the final boss and everybody. Literally.
And they didn't
ran
go
and attacked
away,
it, yeah.
because we kept coming back into
Yeah,
it. And
they all camped us at the front door, so that ruined that game, and we were just like, fuck this, we quit. So anyways,
we went out to Walmart at midnight, bought WoW Time, and bought the game, and fucking drove our ass home.
literally drove back home, put it in, installed it, and played it. We're like, fuck it, we're playing this now. Because we were so mad at that private server. And like I said, Pandaria was out for about exactly a week, and we were like, fuck it, let's do it.
That was funny.
So anyways, the reason why I think Pandaria was okay is it had decent PvP. It had the most amount of PvP added to the game with Battlegrounds. They had 3 finally again, so that was awesome. They finally put some PvP effort in there, which I loved. Because remember, I'm still coming off of Wrath of the Lich King. I love PvP at this point. And also, it kind of rectified a lot of the fuck-ups that Cataclysm had with some of the classes. They made
the Paladin was way more playable.
The Paladin was a lot more playable. It wasn't nearly as randomized. It still sucked, arguably. I mean, you could play the class very well, but what I mean sucked is it wasn't fun, per se. It was okay. Honestly, it was a super okay experience, but it was playable. It was honestly fine. PvP was what made that... the PvP is what made me give that game more of a higher score than anything. PvE I didn't care so much about. It was very phase heavy, and I'll get to phase in a minute.
The reason I thought that Pandaria was okay too, by the way, but the thing that turned me off and why I just couldn't keep playing it, once I hit max level, I just quit. And it wasn't because of anything else, but I didn't know what to do. I literally had no clue which raid I was supposed to do, which dungeon I was supposed to farm. I didn't understand why everybody kept rejecting me because nobody would give me a good explanation. I just didn't know what to do. It was too confusing at that point. Alright,
so then, like, substantially higher from that. You know what? I lied about that again. So it's not substantially higher. We're at 6 inches on the ruler here. So I want you to literally put a ruler in this thing.
I know. I'll just keep moving the expansions up and down.
So yeah, because I keep changing my mind here as I get pissed off thinking about these.
Don't worry.
games.
At the end, I'll actually have an official ruler list. I'm just gonna go ahead and put Legion at the bottom.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and fix that for you.
You may want to because I really hated that game.
I don't think you realized your hatred until you started talking.
Because it was a shit game. I'm sorry, it sucked. Literally, I'd be honest with you.
I knew me and you had a different opinion on it, so when you were doing similar to me, I was like, he's fucking up.
Yeah, to be fair, Will of the Draenor is right next to it. I'm gonna go back real quick and reiterate. Cataclysm is above Legion and Will of the Draenor. Now that I'm really thinking about it, I did fuck up. Will of the Draenor was shit, but Legion was a steaming pile of golden fluffy bullshit. So they're neck and neck of asshole, like licking. It sucked. And then Cataclysm. Moving on. So above Mr. Pandaria, about 3 inches or so, is Wrath of the Lich King. Okay, and the reason why I only put it up about 3 inches, so about the 9-inch mark, so 3/4 of the way relevant, is because yes, it was the most popular. It was the peak of World of Warcraft. It arguably had the best storyline at the time because it was fun. If you played Warcraft 3 and any of the other Warcrafts, the Lich King was the only thing really relevant that mattered because that's what anybody cared about. Like, even playing Classic and Burning Crusade, people were just waiting for the Lich King to get announced because everybody really wanted to see what the hell was going to go on with Arthas. Like, yeah, a lot of people loved Illidan, but everybody was like, yeah, Illidan still lost to Lich King because Lich King's better. So anyways, back to the point. So Wrath of the Lich King was good. It was really good. It honestly was. But Wrath of the Lich King, in my opinion, was the start of the downfall of World of Warcraft. And that's the reason why it was the peak, and it was also arguably one of the biggest mistakes of World of Warcraft's history, next to Legion and Will of the Draenor, because they also were giant mistakes, in my opinion. But what I mean by it was the downfall is it was when they started catering to the casual market. So prior to Wrath of the Lich King, for the vast majority of you who did not play before Wrath of the Lich King, it did not have the game nearly as easy. So, first thing, looking for a dungeon was not a thing. Secondly, Quest Helper was not a thing. Third, they nerfed the living shit out of the game world. This was generally when they took out all the elite ogres. When they also made it...
Ogres?
Yes. When they also made it significantly faster and easier to level so you can get to the new content quicker. And they also really fucking overhauled a lot of the ease of entry to classes. And they also changed when you get mounts and things. And it made the game just significantly easier than it ever was supposed to be.
Linux was feeding me a lot of misinformation because he didn't realize this as I was playing through it. Because they did this in the middle of the expansion. So, Linux was feeding me a lot of misinformation. I was like, no, it's not. I got this. Or, no, I'm already doing this. Or, no, I already have this. And, he didn't think I was telling the truth. And then he would go look and be like, oh, okay, that's weird. And then eventually, once I hit max level, it took me 4 months. Yeah, once I hit max level in 4 months, I kid you not, Alytics finally got back on. And then he saw the whole fucking world of change.
Yeah, because what had happened was I had played religiously from day... I lied about that. I'm not going to lie about this, actually. I did not play religiously. I had my periodic moments of getting on and off as well. But mostly I played religiously through Classic. Played a good shit ton of Burning Crusade. Played the very, very earliest patch, so before Old War came out, of Wrath of the Lich King. Took a heavy break between Old War and Trials of the Crusader, and then came back heavily for whatever the Lich King's patch was called. And played the shitload of that. But I thought during all of Wrath of the Lich King, because it had been so long since we had talked when we were talking about the game, that I thought all of Wrath of the Lich King came out with Looking for Dungeon and Quest Helper and all that stuff, and I didn't realize it patched in randomly here and there. But either way, that's when they started really fucking up the game. Storyline was good, Death Knights were overpowered, Blood Death Knights sucked, Ret Paladins were overpowered, which was the funnest time of the Ret Paladins history. It was too easy to play though, but they were fun. But the game was overall just, honestly, a very good game. It was good, but made big mistakes that ruined the game for the long run.
Well, you see...
That was also the server merging. That was the other thing. That's when they started
yeah.
merging servers because it came out with battle groups. And battle groups is when they came out with the looking for group for both the looking for dungeon and also looking for battlegrounds. So you didn't have that community feel where the same people you saw every single day was not there because they came out with that bullshit phasing technology. And that's the other thing I was going to bitch about. Fucking phasing. Phasing is the other thing that ruined the game because that was the start of the implementation to turning World of Warcraft into a single player game. Because you would get into this bullshit where when you'd play in other expansions, where you'd be on a quest and you try to partner up with another fucking friend playing the quest, and you'd be on like part 6 of the quest and they'd be on like part 3, and you gotta sit there and jack your dick for 5 minutes while you wait for him to catch the fuck up because you can't physically see your own goddamn friend in the world because he's in a different phase. He could literally be in the next, he could be at that same fucking rock you're standing next to, but you do not see him because he is in a different phase. So you gotta wait and time yourself to do it the right fucking time, or God forbid you had a quest where you had to collect something, and for some reason they didn't collect it, and you're fucking phasing in the next part, and you got all this giant cutscenes and shit going on, you're experiencing it, you're like, oh, this is amazing, whoa. And he's like, oh, don't worry about me, I'm just fucked over here. I'm glad that you're experiencing it, I can hear it through your microphone, it's so great, thank you for the experience. Oh, I found the thing. Oh, here comes the cutscene 7 minutes later. Don't worry, I'm catching up to you. Yeah, it was so fun. Let me fucking tell you how great phasing is. That wasn't just in Wrath of the Lich King. I'm just saying that was when it started. And that was a disaster ever since. So moving on past that one, honestly, Burning Crusade, I give it basically like 11 on the inch here. And the only reason why I say that is because it was literally just basically classic WoW again. Like, I'm going to be honest with people. When people talk about, like, Burning Crusade and what it didn't do anything. Like, it didn't really innovate shit. It came out with flying mounts, yes, I will argue that, and that was also a terrible idea. Because that made the whole, like, exploration factor just get completely fucked.
Help. No.
Good classic WoW
Help.
yeah. So anyways, so they came out with flying mounts, which did round up ruining the exploration of the game. But outside of that, it was literally just classic WoW again. Because all they did was they added 10 levels, they added more shit to your talent list, like nothing really changed. So you just added more stuff to it. They kind of went back and fiddled with a couple of them, and then just added a whole new world to play in that was completely irrelevant to the world that you were in. So literally nothing was different. It was pretty much exactly classic WoW again. Now, obviously, number one by a mile, nowhere even fucking close to anything else except for Burning Crusade, because it was basically classic WoW again, was classic WoW. And the reason why I have it so far high up is because it was truly the most enjoyable experience in its own game. You didn't have to have an experience to have, like, you didn't have to force yourself into an experience. Like, you didn't have to have friends to play it. You could play it alone and have fun, or you could play it with friends and have fun. You didn't have to go do shit to have fun. You could literally do whatever the fuck you wanted. It was truly the most freeing experience because you sucked at everything and it was amazing.
I remember, to reiterate that, I remember one day when I was playing on the pirate server, I didn't do a single quest. I said, fuck it. I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a gardener today.
Yeah.
And I just literally started collecting plants,
pretty
fucking
much.
making them into shit, then fucking selling it, and I just kept fucking doing this. And I started getting other plants. I started going to higher level zones to get the plants there, to bring it back. I spent a whole day being a gardener because I was just bored. And I was like, I don't feel like questing. That's what he's talking about. Like, that's... Also, you forgot this, and I'm really sad you did. Warlord's Draenor also ruined professions. Professions are non-existent.
Yeah, but I never used professions, remember?
I know, that wasn't a thing for you.
So that was your thing.
But it really did get on my last nerves. But no. Well, with that being said, I do want to ask you one really big thing, and like we're going to wrap this up soon. But I do want to know, with Blizzard releasing the new classic World of Warcraft game, what, if any, changes do you want to see to Classic? What would you be okay with, and what are you not okay with? What are you expecting them to do, and are you okay with it or not?
Alright, so what I want is literally them to not touch the game. So what I would prefer, if anything, would be to have a truly progression server again. As in, the day it was released, maybe not the...
So, Molten Core...
Maybe not the day, but like, maybe a couple months after, because the first couple days it was very bug heavy. But maybe like a couple months in, start from there, and literally what was out at the time was out, and every patch from that point on actually gets released, and you get to have that like growing with the game experience again at an accelerated rate. Of course, we're not going to take 3 years to experience it all over, but maybe put it over the course of a year and a half or maybe a year and just accelerate it. So if a patch took 3 months to come out, now it's only going to take 3 weeks, something like that. So it would just come out like a lot quicker.
Fuck!
So anyways,
more of this too, right?
Oh, I would love this. This is truly experience. But I would like that kind of feeling, like being able to basically, like I said, grow with the game again, and then cap it. Here's the key word here: cap it at the final patch being 1.12.1, which is the truly best iteration of Classic WoW before they changed it over into Burning Crusade. So literally cap it and just keep that as a forever legacy server where you can keep playing and do whatever the fuck you want. And as far as any added features to the game, I don't want features that are currently in the game. That's why I want Classic. So I definitely do not fucking want looking for group dungeon or merge servers or phasing. Fuck all of that. Fuck all of you who want it. You're not getting my game because that's not what I want and that's what most people want. Now, I know a lot of people will argue, and I know you will argue, graphics and bug fixes. I don't want either.
False. I will argue for graphics as a toggle option where you can toggle it to the modern graphics and animations or keep it classic.
So you're talking about like Halo Combat Evolved?
Yeah, exactly.
The
Like
Anniversary
exactly
Edition?
how Combat Evolved did it, where literally you can just hit a button and literally change it to classic graphics or hit a button and change it to modern day graphics, but everything else be exactly 100% the same. Now, bugs, I agree with you. The bugs and the imbalances need to stay there. That is classic. That's literally part, like this fucking shit. What the fuck? How did I pull all of them? I just spawned.
So then, the only problem with that is here's the thing that will wind up happening. So, if you let them go ahead and do the increased graphics or better graphics or whatever, that like basically lays the foundation for them to go ahead and start adding more shit because people are going to complain and want more. That's how they are. That's how a community is. They complain, they bitch and cry until they get what they want, and then when they get what they want, they still bitch and moan and complain and cry because they didn't know that they wanted that thing.
Here's honestly what I hope happens.
But wait, here's what I'm going to say. So first they're going to start with graphics. Then people will want, hey, well, while you're adding graphics, can you like fix a couple of these bugs? And they're like, okay, sure. Then they fix a couple bugs, and then they're like, well, hey, while you're fixing those bugs, can you like fix this broken ass class? And they're like, okay, we can kind of make it relevant. And then they make a relevant class, and after a while, after a certain point, they're gonna keep adding shit in. And then
so your logic is the snowball effect.
Yes,
that
because
is what your biggest fear is.
Yes, because once it starts, it will not stop, and I know it won't. And so that's why I'd rather just have a literal snapshot of what the game was in the past and keep it as that. They can add a second server if they want, like the Blizzard Fix server or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Oh yeah, like a modified, like
whatever.
The game that they would have liked it to be.
Yeah.
They just didn't have the time to do
Exactly. They could sure as fuck do that. I don't give a damn. As long they can segregate their market all they want, I don't care. But I want specifically to enjoy the classic experience because that was honestly, in my opinion, the best version of the game. Bugs and everything. Because you know as well as I do, sometimes bugs make a game funner.
Yeah, they do.
Like
Look at Dead Space.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole game's a bug.
Exactly, but that's my point. And so I just don't want them to start and, like you said, snowball affect it, where they have the grounds to begin somewhere and then fuck it all up.
Here's
in
the
end.
thing, like, you know is going to be in the game. Like, so this is the other thing I was asking you as a question. You know for a fact that the fucking BattleNet system, as far as, like, whispering people, like, from every game, that's going to be there.
Yeah.
You know that. They're not going to fucking ignore that. They spent too much time creating that system. It's going to be in the fucking game, even though it wasn't in the original. LFR and LFD, as much as I used it when I was in Lich King, it better not even be a fucking thought. Absolutely not. But I don't know. The thing is that I look at Halo Combat Evolved and I see exactly how they did, and they did it perfectly. Yeah, it pisses me off that they didn't fucking do the multiplayer with it, but they did do it perfectly. They literally just recreated the game and just gave you a toggle option between it. But I get what you're saying, because there is going to be a lot of people that are going to jump in on the game. They've never fucking played it. They're going to jump into this shit, be like, what the fuck is this? Elemental Shamans don't exist. Fucking Red Paladins don't exist. That's our favorite fucking class. We know it doesn't exist. But there's gonna be people that are gonna jump in and be like, what the fuck is this shit? My class is irrelevant. I can't fucking play it the way I want. Hybrid specs are lucky if just one of them fucking works sometimes. And it's gonna be a different experience for a lot of people. And there's gonna be a fuck ton of bitching. There is, of course there is. But the thing is that I just don't believe Blizzard would be stupid enough to mistake it. And I'm going to go ahead and give a little bit of my conspiracy theory on this as well. I sincerely 100% believe that the team behind Nostralarius is working hand in hand, if not directly, on Team C. And if you comrades didn't know, Blizzard has dedicated an entire team to this called Team C for Team Classic, which means they're probably going to be remastering and reworking on some of the other games as well, and even potentially making this the progression thing that we're talking about.
By the way, is a good thing, because then that means they're not, like, pulling people off of, like, other games.
Like, I don't want Battle for Azeroth to have a fucking segregated team. I want Battle for Azeroth to be good. Why can't I get both? Why can't I enjoy Battle for Azeroth and also get my Classic? I'm okay with that.
Exactly.
And that's the thing I want to make clear, too. Me and Analytics both feel the same way. We don't want to hate the fucking retail game. That's not the goal. Nothing would make me happier than if I bought Battle for Azeroth and it was like, oh my god, pulled out my credit card and paid for the next year of World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
that would make me happy.
Like, don't get me wrong, I was pretty hyped for Battle for Azeroth, but then again, I've also been led into some failed hype for other games as well. So,
yeah, like how you led me into my Legion hype.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, so like I said, don't get me wrong, I am pretty excited for Battle for Azeroth, mostly because of the potential of being Troll Paladins, because if that's a fucking thing, I'm definitely going to be a Xandalari Troll Paladin. But, I don't know if it's a thing yet, it's not confirmed, I hope it is. But, regardless of that, it still looks like they're going back to their roots, like a classic-esque. And so I'm really excited for that feature, that it's going to be kind of like going back in time in a sense, where it's the real Horde versus the Alliance again, but with modern day shit. That's cool, awesome, fuck it, whatever. But at the same time, like he said, we would love to enjoy both. Like, we don't give a fuck. You can't appeal to everybody. Just segregate your market, because you're never...
No, I sincerely hope that literally the people that come in on Classic, like, what the fuck is this shit? Go to the forums to complain.
Yeah.
Blizzard's just like, well, fuck you. This is how it is.
There's going to be the tourists, of course. The people that play retail, they're going to come in and be like, fuck this game is garbage, it looks like shit, and plays like terrible. You know, it's worse. And there's going to be people that won't only want Classic, and they'll still probably try retail for a day or two. And be like, nope, game's still asshole, they made it horrible, I'm going to bet this is a real game that matters. And that's the thing. Fuck it. Who cares? The flexibility is the thing that matters, though. Is that you have options.
I have the option instead of my fucking only option being taken away from me with no replacement. That's why I was so heartbroken about the Nostralarius. Is that I literally was robbed. Something was taken away from me, and I was given nothing in return as a substitute. That was the problem. That's where Analytics is coming from. Just have the fucking option. And literally, I get it. If they literally just plopped out, like they fucking got a server blade, just fucking shit out. There you go. Okay,
yeah.
Here's $5. Take it. Okay, cool.
Now,
I got what I wanted.
One of the questions I kind of have for you now, since you asked me about features and stuff that may be added, how do you think they're going to do the pricing or just the playing options in general?
So
to be able to access the servers.
So for one, I sincerely believe that if you want to play classic World of Warcraft, I really do believe you do need to give something back because they're recreated.
Yep.
I'm perfectly fine and okay with them tying classic to you having to have at least the most recent expansion of that time. So I have to have Battle for Azeroth before I can play classic. I'm okay with that. And, like, what I mean by this is that I don't feel it's okay to make me buy every single expansion just to keep playing Classic, but the first one is okay. So, say, like, they do Battle for Azeroth, I have to buy it to play Classic, cool, I bought it, I got it, it's mine, awesome, I fucking own it. But then, they want to do Burning Crusade. Well, I already bought Battle for Azeroth, I got Classic for it, well, now they want me to buy fucking Pandas Fuck Ogres, like, 3, and like that's their newest fucking expansion, and so I buy it, but now with that I also get Burning Crusade because it does two things. It still gives that community of people who want that specific game all the freedom to go experience the new fucking game. You have no reason not to, while at the same time giving Blizzard the money they rightfully deserve for doing a good, true recreation if they do that. I'm okay with that. I never have minded spending money for a product that is actually worth its weight and worth the money I spend. So, for me, that's how I would like for it to be seen. Now, subscription model, I'll flat out say it. I think it's bullshit if they would charge a $15 subscription model for people to play just Classic only. And the reason I say this is because I'm actually going to play devil's advocate and be a hypocrite. I would happily pay whatever the fuck they ask me to get my Classic experience and get it undisrupted and get a true Promise Legacy server from Blizzard like they're saying. Because they're literally promising that as long as World of Warcraft is up, the Classic servers will not go down. That has been the Blizzard promise they delivered to us from BlizzCon, and I believe that takes fucking balls. Because they don't know if it's going to work or not. They don't know if it's going to succeed or not, but they are already demanding a promise and giving it to us that they will not shut this down to put their faith in them. And I think that's awesome. So, for me, I have no problem paying $15 a month to play Classic. But I do find it bullshit paying $15 for a fucking game that literally came out, 13 fucking years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been 13 years ago. That's not cool. That's not right. Like, people like Alytics over here who did experience it the first time and who did pay the higher price to experience it, they shouldn't have to pay that same fucking price to experience it again. So, a good pricing model, I would honestly say $5 or $8 a month. I think that's fair. If you just solely want to have a Classic subscription, $5 or $8 a month is more than fair. Don't give the Classic subscribers any kind of like a yearly thing or anything like that. Still reserve that for if you want to experience all of the game, but just give them a good model that they can sit there and just easily chump in, because it'll make you money, as well as sitting there and giving these people what they've wanted. But with that being said, what I am curious about, I sincerely hope, and to anyone watching this, whether you're a comrade or not, I sincerely hope that the people that promised Blizzard that they would play the game and they would pay for it if Blizzard gave the option, do it.
Yeah, actually man up on their word. Because for me, I'm not kidding, guys. The second Classic comes out, I've already been joking with Alytics. I'm quitting my job. I'm fucking becoming a virgin. I'm literally going to pay the next fucking year of whatever I have to pay just to be left the fuck alone. Like, I want it. And I'm joking about it, but I'm not kidding. The second I made a promise to Blizzard in my Nostralarius petition that I signed, and I'll show a little screenshot of the petition. I probably won't be able to find my post because there was like fucking hundreds and fucking thousands of them. But I made a promise to Blizzard that I would subscribe for an entire year if they gave me Classic. And I intend to fully keep that promise. Because if they're going to keep the promise of not fucking getting rid of the server ever again, and they're going to leave Classic regardless of its success or its failure, that they're going to leave it up, I feel it's only right that I keep my promise, and I sincerely hope that the people that did the exact same thing and said all these big words do too, because I think it's only fair. I'm gonna jump in for a minute, and then we'll finish this all up because we're getting pretty long into this.
Yeah, I didn't expect this to be this big of a debate.
So the last thing that I wanted to talk about was the pricing model. I feel like it's gonna be pretty obvious that Blizzard's gonna try to heavily focus on Battle for Azeroth. They even did that at the announcement. They briefly touched on Classic while they announced it, and then they're like, alright, now back to the thing that matters. Battle for Azeroth, you know what I'm saying? So they're going to do the same thing with the game. The objective is to funnel as many people in to Battle for Azeroth as possible. Whether or not you stay is one thing, but whether you just jump off the boat and go towards Classic is another. But you're going to have to go through Battle for Azeroth. So kind of like what he was saying, that you would either have to have the actual retail game to get, like, you know, the privilege in a sense to access Classic. There's a possibility for that. They may do a subscription model, but I think we both can agree that what will happen is they won't give you the subscription model right away. Classic WoW is most definitely coming out after Battle for Azeroth.
I'm expecting probably about 4 months after Battle. Once it becomes slow. Once it starts becoming slow, I feel like they'll finally just be like, hey, we got something for you.
Like, I honestly do not, I'd be actually surprised myself if I see Battle for Azeroth and Classic released at the same time.
Unless they just want to do it for statistics.
Because 2 reasons, that'd be dumb as hell. Because you're already segregating the market, but you might as well just go ahead and ride the hype train as much as you can, because every time an expansion comes out, a fuckload of people come in and then ride it high, and then they all drop off. The least they could do is release it, wait a couple months, maybe release a big patch or something, and then release Classic WoW for those who have been waiting for it, because they're going to come regardless. If they truly want to play Classic, they're going to play Classic whenever the fuck it comes out. But the people that are going to ride the hype train of Battle for Azeroth, they're only going to play, like a good portion of them are only going to play for the first couple months because it's new and fresh and exciting, and then they'll quit and come back for the next expansion, kind of like what I always do. So I feel like it's going to be pretty obvious that what they're going to do is they're either going to do, like he mentioned, you have to have a retail subscription, or they'll do a segregated subscription where you will get access to just Battle for Azeroth, but it'll be at a significant time later. And by what I mean by that is, even when they do release Battle for Azeroth and Classic WoW eventually at some point, they will still be tied together for at least a few months before they do this segregated pricing model. I just feel it's going to be that way, just so that way they can still kind of...
And that's fair. They deserve all rights
absolutely.
to recuperate their money.
Have their... I don't give a shit. I mean, it's fair to them and honestly fair to me. They're still giving me what I want, arguably in an arbitrary way, but who cares? I can't argue with them because it's their product. They can do whatever the fuck they want. They don't have to release it if they don't want to.
No, they could literally fucking take server blades, shit on them, and flush them down the toilet.
I'm just happy they're fucking doing it. So whatever I gotta pay, I'll gotta pay. If it's $15, I will be very pissed off if it's just $15 for Classic, because it's like paying it's like paying $40,000 for a brand new 1992 Honda. It's like, who the fuck wants to do that? Like, you've already could have experienced it back then. The value of that thing is drop dead now. So I'm not paying full value for it. I'm sorry. I've already experienced it. I'm not doing it. But, so anyways, that's my, my thoughts on the pricing model. But I kind of want to just kind of wrap this all up now because we've really gone a long period of tangent here. So, I'm going to give my conclusion, I guess, real quick, and then you can top off.
Oh, are you finally going to actually give your accurate list?
No, because if I do, it'll change again, because I still don't know where I want to place the shit pile of Legion. But anyway, so my conclusion, in a sense, so we can wrap this video up as in like a TLDR, like too long didn't read. We're very excited for Classic now that they finally announced it. We really loved it for a bunch of experiences, like the social features, the community, the hardness, when I say hardness, like the difficulty, and just the overall feeling of exploration in the actual world that you feel like you're in. Because you don't really feel like you're in a world anymore, you just feel like you're in like a timeline or a streamlined storyline, like a visual novel, and you're just a part of it. So anyways, we really just loved a lot of the old features that World of Warcraft had back in Classic that are just lost in time now. So I am looking forward heavily to going back into that and experiencing it all over again in all the shitty glory that it was with the graphics bugs and everything with it. And on top of that, I do not want them to make any changes to the game because I honestly want the game to come out as it was, not because of my rose-colored tinted glasses. No, I don't give a fuck about that. Honestly,
that argument is dead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The argument that Classic WoW is loved because of rose-tinted, it's dead.
Yeah.
It's loved because of the game.
The game itself is truly just a very fun experience, and I don't want a start of a great experience and then fucking it up because they try to make it a better experience like they've been doing with retail and then eventually make it worse, in my opinion. So I'd rather it just be either just Classic WoW, like start at 1.12.1 and just keep it there, or do a minor, very quickly very fast released version of a progression server.
Do like one fucking fixed server. Like literally, do one server that you just call fixed. And if you want to try to fit, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just still give me my fucking Classic.
But overall,
bugs and all.
But overall, I'm really just excited for the idea that Classic is finally a thing. Don't get me wrong, we're kind of excited for Battle for Azeroth, but Classic is definitely our priority.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That was the whole reason. It's kind of funny. I literally looked at him one day at work, and I was just like, hey, why don't we do a video on this? This is something we're passionate about. Why aren't we talking about this? And, like, that's where this video was born, because this obviously isn't our regular scheduled programming, because normally it's more shit and less intelligent.
So anyways, you go ahead and give your wrap-up, and then we'll see you guys, hopefully, when we release some episodes.
My biggest thing is that, guys, I cannot stress enough the fact that for once it feels like the gaming community is actually won and their voices were heard, because I was one of those voices, and I can't stress enough how awesome that is, because that's not something you see every day. That's not something that actually happens, where a big company finally settles down and listens to what the people below them are saying and actually decides, you know what, let's give these people what they want. Because honestly, I was in the same boat as Alytics. I didn't think they were going to fucking release Classic until WoW was dead. Like, literally dead. Like, there wasn't a person on the server. And then they finally be like, oh, guys, maybe we should think of new ideas. Let's release Classic. And then I was afraid they were just going to fuck it up then because they were just going to try to cash it in and make it like, ooh, new Classic, like things like that. But for them to actually seem like they're listening, and from everything that I've read and all the interviews, because they're being very hush-hush about it for obvious reasons, but for everything that I've read and everything that I've seen, I sincerely believe Blizzard is going to do this right. And if I'm fucking wrong and I'm watching this video later on down the road and I was completely fucking wrong about it, I'm gonna lose a lot of fucking hope and faith in gaming as a whole.
Yeah, because kind of interject one more time, because what I feel like as a joke, we kind of joked about it, at least I did anyways, I felt like this BlizzCon / expansion announcement was like, should have been named, instead of Battle for Azeroth, should have been named, you know, World of Warcraft, We Listened, because that was the theme of the entire BlizzCon, is that they understood that they had a market that was truly very, very hell-bent on getting what they wanted, or they wouldn't get anything at all. And that was literally all they wanted, was just either Classic or something similar, and they went with both routes. They went with Classic, and Battle for Azeroth was a Classic-esque. And so, literally, it's like they listened, and
they got rid of artifact weapons.
Kind of. They
I don't count the artifact necklace because you can't see it. So hopefully we'll bring back that prestige.
Yeah, but there's the gold farming bullshit still.
Yeah.
So that's the same bullshit as before, like Legion that I bitched earlier. So either way, we don't know what the game's got. Definitely, this is still very early on. They haven't really released anything. I'm more interested in the war fronts or whatever, Battle for Azeroth. But whatever, we'll talk about Battle for Azeroth another time.
Yeah, we'll do a whole separate video about it as we see it coming out, just to sit there and kind of track progress. But yeah, so yeah, the basic thing is he's right. It is seeming like Blizzard actually fucking listened, and that is a huge deal to me because I'm a loyalist. Like, I fucking love Blizzard. I bought every fucking game they released. I'm literally gonna buy Destiny 2 as much as I fucking hate it once like Destiny 3's out, just to sit there and say my Blizzard library's fucking fixed. Dude, it's on there. I can't hide it. I've tried multiple times.
It has an Activision title.
Yeah,
it literally says Blizzard, and then like down here in like the shit pile, and then you gotta like weave through like the dicks and the forest. There's like this like thing that says Activision, and then underneath that is like this, you know, vehement mess of garbage that's just like vomit.
We'll do
like,
another episode on Destiny.
And then like rotten corpses.
Anyway,
and it's just like the putrid bile that you smell on your screen, and it says Destiny 2.
But regardless, so my biggest thing is that I sincerely do love Blizzard, and I love all the products that they release, and I can't stop buying them because I will find entertainment in whatever shit they release. But I've been hoping that they would just finally listen to their community. And the thing that killed me the most, and what made me feel like my voice was irrelevant, is because until the Nostralarius thing, I always thought that me and Alytics were the outliers. I thought everybody else was happy with
Yeah, because we had friends who would argue with us religiously about how great or how much better or how bad or worse Classic WoW was versus retail, and retail being better.
And so Classic. I always felt like me and him were just alone on it, so we were just the fucking minority that just couldn't fucking be happy regardless of what we got. And so that was the problem, is that when you feel like the minority, you are the minority because you don't feel like you have a voice. So when the whole Classic uproar started, I realized, holy shit, there's a fucking million other of me's out there that think the same thing.
Yep.
And that's where it really started gaining power and going from there. So in the end, on the super fucking off chance if somehow some Blizzard representative sees this, thank you.
Yep. Thank you, for real. Like,
seriously.
If it comes out to be as true as it is, even if it's
literally what you were seeing me doing this entire time.
If it's a nostalgic route where you play it as 1.12.1, or if it's a progressive route where you actually start from the beginning of WoW and play it through to the end of the Classic game, either way, thank you for at least not only listening and trying and hopefully fulfilling. Because I damn well can't wait to play Classic at all. Like, I'm literally looking forward to it. a lot.
You guys have a year subscriber right here. I'm going to subscribe for a whole year, just like I promised in the Nostralarius post.
Pretty much.
I promised it in that, and I fucking fully intend to keep that said promise.
So, on that note, comrades, we're finally going to wrap up this video now that we've killed pretty much your entire day. Or you probably,
I got a key.
Or you probably, oh yeah, they don't have key rings anymore. So,
oh, you forgot to mention they don't have rain.
Oh my god! Real quick, comrades, before I leave.
Cataclysm.
Real quick, before I PS this shit, one last thing. Classic WoW had weather. What the fuck? They took out the weather. Oh my god, it made it truly real. Like, you had rain, you had snow, you had wind. It was like fucking amazing. Now there's no weather. Fuck them. They took the weather out of the game. So anyways, we're wrapping this shit up because we're going on way too long.
Yeah.
So anyways, I really appreciate you guys watching this video. If you like
To
more
the
of
end,
this,
definitely. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
Yeah.
Like,
honestly, if you're still listening to us, just kill yourself, for real.
like
This is too much.
If you made it to the fucking end, go on ahead and message us at cluelesscomrades@gmail.com, and we might consider sending you the first person $5.
Yeah, and then also we'll send you a short video on how to like tie up a noose, wrap it around your neck, and how to conveniently hang it.
Oh god.
Preferably on a ceiling fan.
Damn it, Alytics, we had such a good serious conversation, and now we're fucking it up with our bullshit again.
Because that's what Clueless Comrades are here for, is to be the biggest pile of shit. We gotta play Legion. I'm just kidding, no. Anyways, fuck that game. So, for real though, if you guys like what you heard, give us some comments, talk about it, because this is definitely a discussion we would love to have, because this is something we're very passionate about, mostly because we both played the game, and it's like 13 years in the making, so finally something happening.
Yeah, we love the game. You
And
love
then
the game.
also-
we're in the same boat.
We're also in a debate of whether or not we want to play it and maybe even put it up on our YouTube channel. We just don't know how the fuck we go about it. But if you guys want us to play it, definitely mention it to us. We'll figure something out. We're debating either, by the way, playing that or playing maybe Battle for Azeroth when it comes out because it's probably the bigger game, or playing something else altogether. We don't know.
Potentially even doing like a whole. We might do like a whole review for
Yeah.
Battle Azeroth, just because of how passionate we are
Yeah.
about it.
And then also, if you like this vlog style of us just bitching and ranting about stuff, specifically Legion because it's garbage.
Actually, yeah, this is the first time we've done this. So
Yeah, we've never really done a vlog or anything like this, or whatever the hell you call this face thing.
and
We
this
don't do
is
these.
this is more. I think if we had to classify this is a podcast.
Yeah, podcast.
We literally
whatever.
spent an entire hour and
And
27 minutes.
Well, actually, it's been about an hour and 30 because I took a second to start it. So, really, it's been like
Oh.
exactly an hour and 30. So, anyways, we're going to stop rambling. We're fucking done. Appreciate it again, comrades. Appreciate it again, Blizzard. We'll see you guys later. Hopefully, we've released some content. We're usually slow. We suck at this. We know. So, we'll see you guys later. You got anything else to say?
Thank you, Blizzard. And comrades, peace!
I'm not doing okay hand gestures. Peace, comrades.
Suck it.